Time for another Hearts Against Heroin interview. Now we're talking to Mrs. Stem. She's the school counselor at Westmont-Hilltop. And you've had this job for how many years did you say?
Been at Westmont for 14, but I've been a school counselor for 17.
You started at the high school level and now at the middle school level.
That's correct.
I'm fascinated kind of just the evolution of what your job has been in the last 17 years.
There have been tremendous changes in the students and in the kinds of things that we have to do. Of course, we're involved with a lot of the testing programs that have managed to creep into the school districts. But I think the most important things that we do are working individually with kids. There's social-emotional issues. Kids come to school with a lot of different things on their plate. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of interactions between peers and relationships, and the social media stuff has really increased the pressure on kids.
Absolutely.
And so that comes into school, and that's a lot of what we deal with.
Because there was a time when the peer pressure was literally just your peers. Now It seems like it's the world. And I can't imagine what it'd be like going through all that stuff in high school with all that noise around you.
I agree. It's a big distraction, and, it happens 24/7. So it's not like the kids can go home from school and have a break from it because they're always on social media. They're always seeing what's going on, what people are saying, what people are posting, and whether it involves them directly or not, they all seem to be engaged in it and, will forward whatever the messages might be. So it's not just a small circle of friends anymore. It's out there for anyone to see and get involved in. And that does come into the school a lot. I think that's one of the biggest pressures that our kids have to deal with.
There's always been movies or music or something that would glamorize certain activities. But now you have people your own age glamorizing it. You have people in your own school glamorizing it. Do you see a lot of the students kind of coming in and talking about how to separate from it, or what social media means, what effect it has on them?
Well, we do see a lot of students that will come in and say, I'm worried about my friend, he or she posted something. What does that mean? How can I help? So it's not just when kids are the target of something on social media, it's other kids looking out for each other and then feeling the pressure of having to respond in some way, to take care of that friend, to know what to do. And this happens not just in my district, but this is common. Students who may be doing some self-harm, cutting, or, talking about ending their lives, or doing other kinds of things that are destructive. And that's why I'm so happy to be part of the SAD group, the Students Against Destructive Decisions, because destructive decisions are not just drinking alcohol and doing drugs, even though that's certainly some of the most destructive things they can do. But destructive decisions are anything from deciding to forward a Snapchat and get involved in something that way, or, make a comment about someone or something. There's so many destructive decisions that happen on a day-to-day basis that it's not just the big things like drugs and alcohol.
Because, the original, SAD originally even stood for just drunk driving. That was the double D. How do you keep up with kind of the changing times and what they're doing now? I find it hard in my job to be like, now there's this new program and I got to learn this because I got to know what they're talking about. And it's tough to keep up with it.
It is tough. And I think the kids are always 5 steps ahead of me in knowing what's going on. It used to be that I had when my daughter was a teenager, heaven help her at that time, but, I was a little more in tune with it because I was living with it at the same time. But it is difficult to keep in touch. And that's why I have to rely on having good, solid kids around me who can help me in my job, too. You talk to Hannah Davis. She's certainly one of those kids that a good compass for all of us in the building. So it's just very hard to kind of keep contemporary. Things change so fast. And I think that's one of the things that's difficult for the kids, too, is that things are changing so fast. Their world changes.
Mm-hmm. So for a parent, I don't want to say like keeping an eye on them, but who wants to stay in the know with what their children are doing, that's a good device to have. Just kind of like the 1 or 2 friends that you can trust, kind of keep an eye on them. Come to me if there's a problem, because I can't possibly keep track of all these other things going on. Mm-hmm. Just kind of let it be the group atmosphere.
The biggest thing I can say to parents is keep your eyes open, your ears open, and your hearts open, because you have to be able to hear what your kids are saying and be able to respond to that. Don't ever let your child feel like they can't come and tell you something, no matter what the outcome might be. Anything from the smallest things when they're children, if they don't have that openness as a child, when it gets to the big things like drugs and alcohol and sex, they're not going to be open to come to the parents then. So an open mind and an open heart and just constant vigilance with the eyes and the ears of knowing what's going on. It's a tough job, but it's very important to just stay in touch and in tune with your kids, and also to recognize that, you're parent first. not a friend. It's okay to keep your eyes and ears on them and know what they're doing and be able to give them that guidance, because really, despite what the teens seem to say is that I don't need my parents, I don't want them around, I want to be with my friends. Kids want guidelines. They want rules. They want to have a structure and a system to work in and know when it's right and when it's wrong. So that's the parent's job.